So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is a Mr. Media interview, broadcast and recorded live on blogtalkradio.com from the new media and baseball capital of the world, St. Petersburg, Florida. Who knew this was going to be such an interesting week for cartooning and comic strip news? Not me, and certainly not when I invited Alan Gardner to be my guest today. We actually planned these things ahead, believe it or not. Alan is the editor of the wildly popular website dailycartoonist.com, which is solely dedicated to news of daily comic strips and cartoons. If you're a cartoonist, a writer or artist, an editor, a fan, or someone in the business, there are 3 sites you must check daily. Alan Gardner's dailycartoonist.com, David Astor at editorandpublisher.com, and Tom Spurgeon's comicreporter.com. So what's going on, you ask? Well, we have Lynn Johnston trying to explain how repeating 30 years of continuity in For Better or For Worse this week is not actually reprinting. We also have several high-profile political cartoonists at daily newspapers, such as Don Wright and Jim Borgman, who was a guest on Mr. Media just last week, taking buyouts. And there are these rumors that keep circulating that Berkeley Breathed may be wrapping up the disappointing Sunday-only adventures of everybody's favorite penguin, Opus. So, with that to start us, Alan, welcome to Mr. Media.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you being here. So, Alan, a cartoonist, a newspaper editor, and a web reporter walk into a bar. Okay, I thought maybe there was a punchline. I only had the opening. I thought maybe you'd know the punchline.
They both wildly get drunk. If you've ever been to a cartooning convention, the booze flows freely.
Oh, that's just terrible to hear. I can't believe that's the case. Surely you exaggerate.
No.
Well, let's jump right in because I know on your own site you indicated we were going to talk about For Better or For Worse. So let's talk about For Better or For Worse. Can you explain what's going on there?
Yeah, in a nutshell, Lynn Johnston is getting to that point where she had anticipated retiring and ending the strip completely. And then in her own personal life, her husband left and went after someone else. And she's kind of dealt a personal blow, and she decided, you know what, I'm not ready to hang it up. Nothing's going as I had originally planned, so I'm going to keep the strip. So last year in 2006, they announced that they were going to do kind of a hybrid, which meant that she would continue her storyline, but then they would run flashbacks of old material. But they ran into a problem that readers didn't understand the flashbacks because the drawing style was so wildly different than what she's got now that many people thought that someone else had taken over the strip. In fact, I was getting emails from editors and readers alike asking what was going on, and I think the hybrid model was a little bit confusing. So this year, again, she wants to reduce her workload. She's announced what she's calling a new run, which is, again, mingling of new and old material, but she's gone back and she's drawing the new stuff in her old drawing style so as not to confuse the readers. So we've gone from the way she did it, I don't know if it's been 6 months or a year, but the way she was doing it up until Sunday for some period of time was you had an ongoing modern storyline, but there were flashbacks, but you never knew week to week if you were going to get a flashback or something current, and it was confusing. So now she's going to go back and just start the strip over from the beginning. Right. Why is she redrawing the strip? It was basically for the continuity of the drawing style. So she'll go back and she'll rework some of the punchlines, or she'll go back and rework some of the drawings. Now that she's got 30 years of this experience in cartooning, she can go back to those earlier strips and say, you know, that was good, but with my experience now, I can make it better. So it's in a way to kind of keep the continuity of the drawing and still allow her to have fresh material to sell to the newspapers.
Alan, I'm curious about this. Do you think that she was more motivated by her
preserving her legacy as a cartoonist, or preserving her financial legacy, her estate?
That's a good question. A little bit of both, maybe. Certainly, her legacy is set. There's nothing that anyone could do or that she could do that would erase or diminish the legacy. She's a fantastic storyteller and an incredible artist, and for better or for worse, deserves all the accolades that it gets. Certainly, she's looking at, what is she going to spend her time doing now, and she wanted to keep doing what she wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, if you've got 2,000 newspapers, is what the syndicate says that she has, there's no reason to do anything that would drop that. And I'm sure that the syndicate has got a stake in this as well. They definitely don't want to lose those slots to competitors. As tight as the market is, they're definitely not going to do anything that would allow another strip to take that place. So I think there's a couple forces at work there.
I think I had Mort Walker on. I tried to find the audio clip, but it was just a lot to go through today. But I think it was Mort Walker who was on with me earlier this year. It was the first that I had heard of Lynn's marital situation, and he suggested that she really wanted to quit the strip, but because of the divorce, financially, it wasn't really the right time. So when I thought about what she's done now, I thought, well, you've got a going concern, like you say, you've got 2,000 newspapers. That's a lot of income, both for the syndicate and for herself, and whatever she had to give up, whatever that might be in a divorce settlement, she can certainly probably make back by just keeping the strip alive. But the part I don't get is her explanation, and I watched the videos of her being interviewed, and I think you can see them on YouTube and other places. I don't understand the point of redrawing the strips. I mean, they have their. We've got a lot of the collections. I don't want to say have all of them. There's a lot of them. We have a lot of the collections, and I mean, part of the charm of the early strips is that's the way it was drawn. Yeah.
Really, I think she's trying to find a way to and I don't know if the motivate. Well, she definitely. Whether she feels, the syndicate is putting pressure on her, or she just, in her competitive nature, wants to keep as many newspapers as she can, she's got to offer something new. I mean, that's why they call it new runs instead of reruns. She has new material in it. And I think that is to bolster the claim that you can't drop to the editors, don't you dare drop the strip. This is new material. I don't know if that answers your question. I think she wants to stay active in it, but yet find a way to kind of ease the burden of trying to crank out 365 cartoons a week or a year.
Well, here's a good question that's coming. We have the live web chat that accompanies the live interviews, and mylifeinacube.com. There's your free plug, okay? mylifeinacube.com asks, why not just do a new strip, like a different strip altogether? With her name and the value of her history, couldn't she just start a new strip?
She possibly could, but even with making a transition into new runs, she had, some drops. And I suspect if she started completely new, even with the name recognition, she would definitely pick up many, hundreds of papers, but never would she get to the same level she has. So why would you give up the 2,000 newspapers to start something fresh?
And do you think that... go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but you got to also think she's got the 2,000 newspapers. She's got a way to do 365 jokes a year, but not really have to do 365. You know what I mean? She can mix the new material with it, and so she doesn't have to be at this full-paced 365 jokes a year that she would if she started all over again.
Well, I'm guessing, too, that she can that if she starts strong out of the box and that there's interest in the, as you call them, new runs, or as NBC used to call them, it's new to you reruns.
Exactly.
If it starts out strong out of the box and she cuts off a lot of newspapers dropping the strip, then a year or 2 or 3 out, if it's going along smoothly, and I don't know, I've looked at the strip this week, I can't tell if there's anything new or not. I imagine she could just ease off on doing that and just let the strip run. I mean, nobody's updating Peanuts, and it seems to be running pretty well. Foxtrot's not being updated, and I just realized I guess I'm not paying enough attention, but I just realized on Sunday that my local paper, the St. Pete Times, is still running Foxtrot on Sunday, although not daily, and they haven't added all the new strips that they've added in the last year or so are still not in the Sunday paper. So I mean, there seems to be some value there, I guess, to the creators.
Well, I think when we're talking about her long-term goals, she did say, and I don't remember the source, the interview, that she has 1 year's worth of, the first year of this new run model will be 50-50, old stuff, new stuff. Mm-hmm. She has a perfect segue, if she ever wants to walk away, to just let it go and go into reruns.
Right.
So you start the first year on new runs, all the newspapers keep, and they really don't know, they're not looking back at the strips 30 years ago, so they don't know whether they're getting new or old. She could slip down to from 50% to 30 to 20 to 10 to 5. No one's going to know. And, was that her complete objective, her final plan? I don't know. But it certainly would make it very easy to transition to a rerun like Peanuts and a whole lot of papers.
Rich D in the web chat wonders why she didn't just do new strips on Sundays.
It's a good question. I think some of the new material that she's planning on doing does run on Sundays. She definitely could have done what Bill Amend did with Foxtrot. You just drop the daily, keep the Sunday. That would have kept her in there. She'd only have to do, 56 a year? Mm-hmm. Maybe that was the pressure she got from the syndicate to keep the daily slot there. Universal is she's got a really good relationship with Universal, and I know that on our blog, Universal has kind of cut some. People have been taking shots at Universal that perhaps they have been heavy-handed in saying, Lynn, you got to stay in it for us. I think it's a testament to that relationship and how well Universal treats their cartoonists that she's doing this. And in her final, the final strip on Sunday, the Saturday, she personally thanked the syndicate. So I don't know what the whole role or pressure the syndicate has, but I think it's a good relationship for both of them.
It was interesting the way she went out. I thought it was a little flat-footed, lead-footed. I don't know. It's fairly predictable. It didn't, I don't know. It did not end with the panache that I thought the strip has had. And then I gotta ask you, this is a crazy question, but as you look at it, and she's going back 30 years, do you think for all the controversy that it started up, do you think Lawrence, for example, will still be gay when the strip reruns, or do you think he'll settle down with a nice girl and we'll never see that storyline again?
Crazy question. No, I think she'll be true. Lawrence will still be gay. I think the strip is she's often considered it autobiographical, or that it's based on people she knows, her own life, and so forth. And so when she comes and talks about homosexuality, that's her own views of it, and I don't think that she would ever change Lawrence in a rerun or new run.
I asked that kind of kiddingly. I didn't really expect she would do that, but your comments about the syndicate are interesting because I believe she actually left Universal for a time and then came back, and of course ended her run of the new strips with Universal. Right. Boy, they're just typing fast and furious here in the in the web chat. Let me see if I can get some of these questions in. Range points out that we've seen this enough in so many other places, especially sports, that we should all know by now that some people don't feel the need to quit while they're ahead, and that not everyone wants to pull a Bill Watterson. What do you think is going to happen when the day comes that Gary Trudeau says, this time around a sabbatical is not enough. I just want to pull the plug on the strip. Do we go back on Doonesbury? I mean, are we setting a new example here that all these big popular strips will go back and start from the beginning?
Lynn has, in this respect, previously what would happen, you could end the strip, you could hand it off to a ghostwriter and artist and basically become a legacy strip, or you just rerun it. She came out with basically a new model, the hybrid, that didn't work so well, so now it's the new run model. So she's introduced a fourth model that could, the cartoonists can work with. In this case, let's say like Doonesbury, you really can't rerun it because it's so political. Some of those strips would just be, talking about Jimmy Carter, who's gonna get the joke.
Good point.
Kathy. I mean, we're talking about. There's only about 14 strips that are above the 1,000 client list level, and most of them could easily go into the legacy mode. They're owned by the syndicate, and the syndicate's just going to hire a ghost team, or a family member is taking over. So really, when you get down into that level, you've got Zitz, Baby Blues, Kathy, Garfield, Dilbert, and For Better For Worse. So I just named off 6. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Garfield, Jim Davis has taken that in the Disney route. He's got a team. He's got a company behind that one. Dilbert or Scott Adams has said he's not going to retire. When you get all down to it, there's only a few that are in this situation like, what could we do? You could probably rerun Zitz or Baby Blues. Kathy could be a good candidate for a new run. Who's to say what they'll do? I mean, now we have a new fourth option. I think she's blazing a trail, and we'll see how popular or how successful it is.
Well, certainly the family-oriented strips, like, I had Jerry Scott, Jim Borgman, and Rick Kirkman on last week. Between the three of them, they produced Zitz and Baby Blues. You can look at these and you can see, okay, Zitz, Baby Blues, Jumpstart, I think might be another one. It's not. I don't think it's over 1,000, but it's been around a while. These family-oriented strips could run for generation after generation and start over again because the humor still fits. I think the guys were saying last week that with Zitz, they were astonished to see the response in China or I think one of the guys said something about a guy in his 80s said, it just reminds me of myself. And it's like, what?
Yeah, definitely the family-based stuff is more timeless, whereas Doonesbury it has a shelf life to it. Dilbert probably is a little bit more timeless. I don't think company culture changes that often. I think the women insecurities that the Kathy deals with are probably universal and timeless. So there's some of those big ones. They definitely are candidates for new runs or hybrids, whatever you want to call them.
Well, let's take just a brief pause. Let me give out our phone number. I know we've got a lot of activity in the web chat. I'm delighted to see that. And if you've got a question for Alan Gardner, editor and creator of dailycartoonist.com, give us a call, 646-595-3135. And if you want to play the home game, go to his website, daily, D-A-I-L-Y, cartoonist, you can spell that, .com. And you can read up on the latest news in the comic strips. Let's change gears a little bit. And if anyone wants to call in about For Better or Worse, we'll be happy to have it. But I'm also curious about something. There have been some rumors peeping out about Opus. What have you heard? Is Berkeley Breathed going to pull the plug?
The official answer is I talked to Amy Lago at Washington Post Writers Group Tuesday, yesterday, because I started getting emails from people based on his last Sunday strip. where he started using words like finality and closure, conclusion, something like that. And so I asked Amy, I said, what's going on? And the official answer is they haven't heard anything from Berkeley. If he's planning on it. And he's doing Sunday only, and I think they have a 6 or an 8 week lead time that they have to be producing. So definitely nothing's going to happen this fall. Just observing Berkeley over the years for the blog, he does a lot of things for attention, a lot of things just to kind of get a buzz going about something. He's said in interviews that he was going to kill off Opus. It generated some buzz, but he later said, "Yeah, I've got no plans to do that." So I think this is kind of possibly just a stunt, publicity stunt.
I think the best stunt that Breathitt could pull would be to announce that he's going to add a daily strip to it, so there's something to follow. I think the biggest mistake, personally, is that when he brought it back as a Sunday. It's very hard to latch on. If you were a new reader, I think it's very hard to latch on to something like that has so much attitude once a week. And when he came back, it was with the provision that the newspapers all had to run it at a certain size, and it was good then because you could actually see all the detail that's drawn in, and it's a very well drawn, detailed strip. But of late, the last couple of years, I gather he had to give in, and newspapers are running it smaller, and it's almost impossible to read. Yeah,
that's been an issue with every strip since the dawn of time.
So we don't know. There's no sure thing. We don't know that it's going away, which is good. But like I said, if he's going to keep doing it, I'd love to see him add it daily. I'm sure that would get a great pickup.
Yeah, that would be. He hasn't done a daily since Bloom County. What did he ended that in 90? I want to say 91. Genius stuff. He was a very good writer. Zany.
Oh yeah.
It would be interesting. I don't know what he fills the rest of his day with. He does books, illustrates books. He's got into that market. So maybe that's what's preoccupying his time that would inhibit him from doing a daily.
Maybe he and Watterson are having daily lunch together, and I want to point out. First of all, I'll tell you that Rich D has said good breaking news on the Daily Cartoonist on dailycartoonist.com. So if I suspect anyone listening to us or on the web chat probably already knows the site, but just in case you don't, dailycartoonist.com. And then Rich also suggests why don't they just go back to Bloom County Classic and start that strip over again? So not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea, but once again, I think some of the strip is lost its shelf. It kind of expired. It talked about Reagan, and it's a bit dated. But
you could just replace. See, again, he could make his strip new. Reagan could become Bush.
There you go.
He could put Sarah Palin in the closet.
Yeah, exactly. There is a way to do this, but he'd have to adopt his old drawing style.
True.
Yeah.
Keeping it current and topical, and by request from the web chat, let's talk about Jim Boardman's announcement today. Jim is the political cartoonist for the Cincinnati Enquirer and the artist on Zits, and it's been officially announced, and there's actually a number of stories that I saw on Google News confirming that he has asked for and received severance from the Enquirer and will not be doing his political strip anymore, political cartoons. What do you make of that?
I was blown away. It's been weighing on my mind all day. It's Jim Boardman's one of those cartoonists that his community loves him. He's well respected, well liked, well connected within his community. Very strong relationship with his newspaper. His job in this market where editorial cartoonists are fearing for their jobs. His job was probably the most secure out of anybody. In fact, I did call. I talked to him this morning, and he said I didn't have any pressure. Nobody was saying, "Hey, your job's going to get cut." he just, for the last 12 years, he's been doing his, I think, 5 editorial cartoons, maybe 5 or 6 a day for the paper, and then into the late night he's doing zits on weekends, and that's for 12 years. That's a grind. And he just looked at the market and said, look, newspapers are in trouble. Gannett is the newspapers chain is going to reduce their workforce by 6%. I'm going to take it out. And so that's what he did. He's going to reduce his workload to just work on zits, and he announced that they're going to do a weekly feature starting in January for the Inquirer.
Mm. And this is on top of was today Don Wright's last day at the Palm Beach Post?
He was at the end of August.
Last week. Okay.
I think he may have wrapped up a couple weeks ago. But he was another. I mean, he's a legendary guy. I believe he's in his 70s. So it's not that big of a leap to say, he's well within the retirement age. He doesn't have to have the job. He doesn't. I don't know if he's got a mortgage, but he was just. It's way different than Jim Borgman, who is still, I think, in his 50s. I mean, he's young. He's got many years of cartooning left him as far as editorial cartooning, and he wasn't pressured out, but he just looked at the future and said, you know what, I've done it. I'm going to move on.
I'm only sorry that he didn't announce it when he was on the show last week. Jim?
Yeah.
What's up with that, Jim? Come on now.
Yeah, I didn't get an email, announcing it before everyone else knew. But
mylifeinacube.com asks if there are any plans to replace either Don or Jim at their papers.
Doubtful. I'm sure. I don't. Yeah, it's doubtful. Based on the market right now, if any paper picks up a cartoonist, I'd just be surprised. The way newspapers are trying to reduce their, especially the newspaper chains that are beholden to stock, to the stock market. Stocks are dropping. They've got to reduce costs. The staff cartoonist is a luxury. I don't know if we'll ever pick up full-timers anymore.
Well, this is a good time to mention that in the next couple of weeks, one of my guests will be Clay Bennett, the Pulitzer Prize-winning editorial cartoonist, who is, let's say, he's been with the St. Pete Times, Christian Science Monitor, and I believe is now in Nashville.
Right, the Chattanooga 3 Times. I
think that's it. Yeah. So keep an eye on the site. We'll get that date up as soon as we know for sure. So, Alan, you kind of started your career as a cartoonist. Is that right?
I did. That was my boyhood dream, and I got into college as a staff cartoonist on the newspapers in all the colleges that I attended, and in my last at Utah State University.
Folks, listen to what he said. In all the colleges I attended. I just want to point out that. How many colleges are we talking about, Alan?
Just 2. Started out at a private college and then went to a state college.
Okay.
Yeah, just 2. And then in my junior and senior year at the state college, I took my portfolio into the daily paper there and secured kind of a freelance working on local issues, and they eventually brought me in the paper, hired me full time to do cartoons and manage their website. So that's kind of how I started. I always kind of anticipated making a career out of comics. My wife and I were blessed with a set of triplets in 1999, and at the time I was still working for that small local paper, and I was just like, okay, how do I afford 3 kids at one time? I got to go get a job. So I kind of left cartooning and went into web design and development. And that's kind of where I've spent most of my time since.
Do you draw at all now?
Occasionally. In fact, today we are developing for the company that I work for a children's website, so I'm doing some drawings for that. But I haven't been published in a newspaper oh boy, this is almost kind of depressing to me, and almost a decade since 1999. Yeah.
Well, as the editor of dailycartoonist.com, I would think you could probably talk your boss into publishing, some comics if you wanted to do it.
At least weekly, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to bring that up next step.
Now, you think that would be a lot of pressure now, going from the guy who edits the website about comic strips to actually putting your own up there? It'd be kind of, go from being kind of, constructive and critical about the industry to, okay, here's my work.
Yeah, now that I have now I'm going to have a complex if I do try it. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I think one of the best things about having this blog for the 2.5 years, coming up on 3 years, is I've become acquainted with a great number of great cartoonists, and have kind of fostered relationships and friendships with them. If I came up with a strip, I definitely feel like I could approach some of these big guys and say, hey, take a look at this, give me some feedback, and I guarantee each of them would. So, no, I don't feel that they would be highly critical and be mean to anything that I produce. In fact, I think that'd be very encouraging.
Or then you have the response that Rich D suggests here in the web chat. He says it'd be like Roger Ebert doing a movie.
Well, if you read the site, I'm not that critical. I just report the news, and I try to do it in an unbiased manner, which I think lends to some of the credibility and of the site. Is
right.
that I do reviews of when new strips come out, and those are pretty much the only time where I really say, well, hey, this is what I really liked about it, and this is what I really didn't. But other than that, I usually try to go straight down the line, be it as objective and unbiased as I can.
Well, speaking of new strips, I wanted to ask you about that. What strips do you see as having some traction these days, and who, apparently there haven't been too many newspapers that dropped for better or for worse. I guess the Washington Post was the big one. Are there many strips that are gaining from that decision, and are there other strips that are gaining traction just in general right now?
I posted yesterday my best guess, and it's a guess at this point. I don't think so much that any one particular strip gained the most. It wasn't like when Foxtrot retired the daily, daily Foxtrot. There were some big winners: Pooch Cafe, Leo, Pearls Before Swine. I'm sure I'm missing a couple of them in there, but there were some clear winners. On this round, there wasn't enough papers that dropped for better for worse to really have a outstanding winner. The only thing I could really see was the genre of the family-based strips were the winners. Yama Diaries picked up at least one. Was it the Plain Dealer in Ohio? Between Friends was another one. I'd have to go back to the site. But I think the family genre was the winner, not so much a particular strip on this one. Coming out of the gates, I think this month, Universal is going to launch What the Duck, or they've renamed it WT Duck, about a duck photographer. I think that's going to do well. It's well written. Trying to think who else is on the upswing. I always liked Richard Thompson's Cul-de-sac. I think it's been gaining for quite a while. It's a good family strip, well written, well drawn. I think those are. Which I better not start. I can't remember what it's called. Argyle Sweater. There you go. That came out in the spring, and it's done really well.
What was the name of that one?
Argyle Sweater.
Oh, okay.
Kilborn. I may have his last name wrong. but it's done really well. It's a panel, which has a harder time selling, but it's done well.
We had the St. Petersburg Times for several months was auditioning new strips in their back in their rejiggered classified section, and it was kind of interesting to get exposed. I wish all newspapers did this on a regular basis because you get exposed to stuff, and I saw a lot of things I liked that I had not seen before. I liked Candorville. Scary Gary was kind of funny. I didn't really care for the drawing style so much, but I thought the gags were pretty good. I knew it was just going to go right out of my head. They picked up Mutts on a permanent basis, which I've always liked but could never find. Cafe con Leche, we had Carlos Gary on the show here, so people know I like that one. And a while back they had picked up Pajama Diaries, which the first couple of weeks they ran it may have been an anomaly in the strip, but the first couple of weeks that it ran, it was so text-heavy and so art-light that I just thought it was just ludicrous to try to read, but I've actually become kind of a fan of it, given repeated exposure to it. I think it's actually rather clever. I know. There's one more I was trying to think of. It was, and they didn't pick it up, but I thought it was very clever. And I guess because I work at home, I appreciate it. It was, it's called Home and Away.
Oh yeah.
I like that one. That was a good one. That wasn't a question. That was just me rambling for a moment. But T.J. Hill from the web chat has a question for you. Would dailycartoonist.com ever consider some space to help new artists get feedback on their strips, like a Sherpa?
The short answer, no. I would think it's a constant because Daily Cartoonist is something I fit in early in the morning before I go to work. I'll check the feed, see if there's anything new during lunch. Before I go to bed, I'm doing something like that. Just sounds like more complexity, more time and effort that I'm not sure what I get out of it. It could be so self-centered there, but I also got to think about, what am I going to get out of it? I know it's been asked many times, this is a cartooning site, and it's pretty light on cartoons. And I've looked into how to get cartoons on there, knowing that I don't have a budget, and I really don't want to run people's stuff without them getting compensated. So I've just kind of given up putting a lot of cartoons in there, and I didn't want to get into a position where I was having to edit or, moderate and determine, what's going to go on. It just seemed like more work than it was worth.
Well, so tell us this. I'm sure people are wondering, because I get asked this all the time. If you still have to have a regular job and you've got triplets, why do you do it? What's the compulsion?
Well, I started the blog because I wanted to get back into cartooning. I wanted to start blogging. That was kind of a cool new thing to do, and I'm come from a tech industry where everyone was doing it, and I wanted to get back into cartooning. But coming from that tech industry, I knew the newspapers were in trouble. I knew editorial cartooning jobs were not gaining, and so I wanted to know what the market was like. If I was to get back into cartooning, what would I do? Where would I go? And so that's what the blog began as, is me just investigating what's going on in the industry. If I jump back in, where am I going to go? So that was the initial thing, and then it just started growing, and all of a sudden these professional cartoonists, these ones, that I look at their work and I'm in awe, and I'm, they're my heroes. All of a sudden they started coming and sending me emails like, hey, I love the site, and all of a sudden it's got a following, and now I don't know if I wanted to give it up, could I? I think it's filled a hole in the market that I don't think anyone really realized was there.
It's interesting. I mean, the interest in cartoonists is really dramatic. I know whenever I've done an interview with cartoonists, the traffic has been terrific. As a matter of fact, so many people were interested in you. We've seen a lot of traffic because of you because you're talking about cartoonists. And I want to take a moment and for people who may be new to Mr. Media who've come here because they heard about this interview on the Daily Cartoonist, let me tell you, if you go to mrmedia.com, this is our home site, there are interviews with the creators of Baby Blues, Zits, Cafe Con Leche. There's an interview here with Jules Pfeiffer, with Todd DiPastino, who did the biography of Bill Malden from Willie and Joe. Stefan Pastis is here, Art Tatuli from Leo, Ray Billingsley Curtis, Bill Griffith, Zippy the Pinhead, and even my good friend Lee Salem. We did an hour with Lee. And I just realized that there's no link up to the Mort Walker interview, and I will fix that tonight. So, if you've just discovered Mr. Media today through Daily Cartoonist, I'm delighted to have you. And if you're interested in more interviews with cartoonists and people related to cartooning, check out mrmedia.com. Let me give out our phone number one more time. I've been having a good time just talking to you myself, but if anyone wants to get a call in, now would be the time. We're going to go about another 15 minutes or so. Give us a call, 646-595-3135. Calls are welcome. Also happy to take your questions in the web chat, such as this one from Rich D. Where does Alan work? I think you've got a stalker.
I'm based in Utah, live in Utah, and I work for a company called Utah Interactive. And we provide web-based solutions for state of Utah, a private company that has a contract with the state. So my responsibilities is web design, informational websites, but also user interaction for web applications.
What are the most unusual strips out there right now? What are the ones that, maybe they haven't caught on in a big way, but, they're different. There's something maybe special about them that people haven't seen these strips.
Let me think. Unusual strips, or maybe really good strips that may not have gotten traction yet. Is that another way to ask the question? Trying to think of the latest launches there. Well, I think you kind of put me on the spot.
Sorry.
I don't want to. I've already mentioned him once. What the Duck, or WT Duck, that's coming up. Mm-hmm. It was started out as a web comic, kind of as a lark kind of a thing. But I followed that for a while. He's got a really good sense of humor. He's really mastered the 3-panel, the gag, the setup, delivery, and the punchline. I hope he does well. I think he deserves some attention. Trying to think of some others. Family Tree, Signe Wilkinson. She's the editorial cartoonist in Philadelphia. There's 2 papers over there, and I'm trying to think which one she's in. That one is a nice family strip. As well as you've mentioned, Pajama Diaries is another one. I really enjoy Retail. I love his writing, and his artwork is great. But the fact that he's out there trying to work on another strip kind of indicates perhaps he's maybe not quite got the clientele that he needs to sustain his interest in it. That's my speculation. I don't know that he's ever announced anything, but definitely he's a really good writer and artist. I think I ought to just stop there.
Well, are you covering online comics?
I started to. That's a difficult field to really get. It has been for me. I basically have said, my blog is about professional cartoonists. Mm-hmm. And that whole web industry, there's really no filter. There's no editors, no weeding out process. And you've got some like XKCD, if I got that right. It's a webcomic. It's stick figures. Can't give him an award for art, but it's funny, and he's making a living off of it. So in that respect, he's a professional, but you'd never know it by looking at his work. You've got really good artists out there, but they're certainly not professional level. They're not, as far as income or in the amount of work that they do. They don't do it daily. Maybe they just do it 3 times a week. So it's been really hard for me to wrap my arms around and say, okay, this is the professional, this is who we need to pay attention to, and this is the amateur who's probably going to end in 6 months. That's been my struggle in covering webcomics.
Do you, we were talking before about the brain drain of political cartoonists away from daily newspapers, and I'm trying to tie that into online comics. Do you think that there's a better place for them to go? I don't mean they're dying and going to heaven, if that fits your religious beliefs, but I mean, if you're a political cartoonist, now Jim Borgman, he's got Zits, and you said he's going to do a weekly, but I'm trying to think what's the positive outcome for this. The newspapers are losing their exposure to local cartoons, which from the history of newspapers have always been important, and readers will not have access to it. I mean, are we going to see these people turning up online, doing their work there, or is that craft just going to go away?
That is a good question. I wish I knew the answer to that. We're going to lose some talent. There's no doubt about it. The problem with the online right now is so much is out there for free. You've got to sell the T-shirts and the books and I don't know, the pencil sharpeners, the mugs, even the web guys, the web comics, who are making a living. They can stay at home and produce 6 or 7 comics a week. They're not making the money off of the comic. It's the lost leader. It's there. People come, so they'll buy the posters and the T-shirts. And I guess if you're an editorial cartoonist, your product has a pretty short shelf life. Editorial cartoon comic collections don't usually sell very well simply because, in a year's time, 6 months' time, they're dust. They don't have any value other than for historical reasons. They could go online. A lot of them have started animations and have done quite well. And I think, at least on the online, and when you start getting into the mobile world, I think animations play really well. It's just a matter of how many of those can make that leap from print to web successfully. I'm worried. I really am about the profession.
Alan, put on your prognosticator's hat for a moment. And I know you don't really do much of this on the site, but hey, you're on the phone with me. I'm going to put you on the spot. Okay. What do you think people in the comic strip business will be talking about in the next 6 months to a year? What will be the big stories?
That's a good question. There'll be all right. Get out the crystal ball here. 6 months to 1 year. Boy, I've got to put on the record. I've got a lousy prediction rating here. I knew Lynn Johnston was going to go into the hybrids. I thought that would maybe be the big story last year. It ended up being Tom Baddock's Lisa Moore character getting cancer and dying. That ended up being, I never saw that one coming. You're asking a tough question. I'm not sure that I can. There'll definitely be some launches. We'll continue to watch the For Better, For Worse transition into this new run, how well it does. I think there's going to be a lot of polls that are going to be, they're going to give their readers a month to the end of the year to kind of determine if they like For Better, For Worse, the new run version. I think we're going to see a lot of polls in January, if not earlier, asking readers, hey, do we keep it or do we find something new? And I think there will be some more drops. Again, will it be as significant? I don't know.
Maybe some of the newspapers will start, if they don't drop it, maybe they'll just start transitioning it to a less prominent space. I'm thinking where I read it in the St. Pete Times, it's very prominent. It's right at the top of the page. I think it's, I think I could remember this. Oh, here, wait a minute. Bear with me, folks. I'm going to lean over to the newspaper recycling pile. Okay, so they've got center of the page, it's Doonesbury, and then For Better or For Worse. And so, maybe For Better or For Worse transitions to the next page of comics where they're black and white, and something from the black and white page like, Pajama Diaries or what else do they have here? Dog Eat Doug. One of these moves up to the bigger position and gets a little better exposure. It could happen.
It could happen, and you triggered my mind here on, when Universal put out the news yesterday that they had lost less than 2% of their readers or clients, which amounted to 40 or less. What they didn't announce, and it's all in their marketing spin of things, if a newspaper keeps the strip but takes it from their print and moves it to the web, Universal can still say it didn't get dropped. So really, when you look at that number, how many got dropped, we don't know how many went from print to, somewhere else, web. I ought to see if I can't corner Kathy on that, or if they track that. I'm sure that they do, but whether they'd actually give me that kind of information is a completely different thing.
Well, let's try this. Kathy, if you happen to be listening, you've got about three and a half minutes if you want to email, or if you want to plug into the web chat, or give us a call at 646-595-3135. Last couple minutes, we'll give you the opportunity to actually respond to that, and if you're there. I know Kathy's aware of the interview, so we'll give her a second to see if she's there and wants to call that in. Meanwhile, there's a question here from Rich D. Well, you can take off your great prognosticator's hat right now. Rich D wants to know, political cartoonists are adding animations and blogs. Do you think this adds or detracts from the art form?
From the art form? Good question. They're two different animals. Really, they are. I personally like the still image. I think it's more powerful. It's less distracting. It goes right for the jugular, or right for the funny bone. Where animations it's a completely different animal. Oh boy. I think the blogging is good. I think any cartoonist who can build up a community around him or herself is only helping them keep their job. Newspapers, they understand things have got to go to the web. So yeah, getting into animations and having blogs, I think, is good for them to keep their job. But as far as it's just a different animal as far as the artwork is concerned.
These guys are getting busy again on the web. We may have to keep you another minute or two. TJ Hill says, regarding syndication, do you think posting on Sherpa is enough, or should one still submit hard copies of a new strip idea to all syndicates? In other words, do the syndicates all look at Sherpa anyway?
That's a good question, and that would be a question for Lee Salem. I think they're out there, whether it comes through Sherpa or across their desk. I think they're just going to look at anything that's really got some good writing, good art. That looks like it could go the full 100 yards. I don't think it really matters whether it's on Sherpa or a personal site. You just got to get it in front of the editor, which eventually will end up, in an envelope on their desk.
All right. Well, folks, first of all, let me thank those of you in the web chat for some terrific questions today, and a lot of interaction. We appreciate that. And if we haven't already gotten the point across, check out Alan Gardner's reporting on the comic strip and cartooning industry, the professional comic strip and cartooning industry, at www.daily.cartoonist.com. And Alan, been a great guest. I've enjoyed talking with you. I feel like I knew you already because we've corresponded via email before, but this was great. I really appreciate your time today.
I appreciate you letting me on.
All right. Thanks very much, and continued good luck. And, boy, keep an eye on them triplets. My goodness.
Thank you very much.
All right, Alan. Take care.
Mm-hmm. You too.
Bye-bye.